Hello and welcome to this episode of Chap in the Workshop, which has been more or less requested by you, well, Facebook yous. I posted a poll a while back asking if you'd be interested in seeing my stumbling attempts at leatherwork to reproduce a pair of French ammo pouches, 1935/37 style, which look like this. And you said, yes, we'd love to, and I'm sure that's really just not to see me fail. Now these pouches, obviously considering the time they were issued, they're relatively rare. Issued, a sort of ad hoc basis, and so you see them relatively rarely on period pictures. But yeah, they came as a symmetrical pair, so even if you find one, you're going to have to try and find the other one. And if you find both, they're really expensive, far more than I'm prepared to put into for just a uniform for the odd video and just to please myself, really. So luckily a French gentleman has had the idea before me and went to the trouble of producing patterns for them. So asking very nicely, he let me have those, which I have cut out, stuck onto some thick card and cut out again, and I'll be using that later. Now the tricky bit is to remember that they are a symmetrical pair and not make the same pouch twice, because that would be embarrassing. So yeah, these pouches, there is a large pouch and a small pouch. Then it's all back on the same backing, and this is a period in time where you still have the MAS 36 is just coming out. But squads are still armed with the 5-shot Berthier, and there's still the odd Lebel kicking around as a grenade launching rifle. So the pouch would have to take both stripper clips for the 7.5 French, still have 5-shot clips for the Lebel, and probably loose ammo as well. Also, since the whole point of this uniform here was to be a general issue uniform for all troops, it would also, the webbing would also have to cater for all troops, and of course the light machine gun was becoming a prominent issue firearm. So previously the gunner would have stored his stuff in one of the big ammo pouches there at the time. Sorry, the previous pattern of webbing just had 3 large box type ammo pouches, 2 at the front, 1 at the back. So the machine gunner would put his tools and oily rag and all that in one of the pouches. So this new ammo pouch also had to cater for the fact that it would maybe not be holding clips of any type, but would just be holding assorted tools and spares and all that. So they made a compromise of having a large pouch and a small pouch. Fair enough. So that is what I'm going to try and reproduce. Now, in theory, if I do everything systematically, it shouldn't be too difficult. I know some of you, after doing that poll, that some of you are in fact adept leatherworkers. So I will apologise to you in advance that I may do things that'll make you cringe and want to throw things at the telly or throw the telly. Live with it. I'm just trying to make my way here, and yeah, it'll either work brilliantly or end up looking like a kindergarten project. We shall see. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to carry on, whether I'm going to do little sort of vlog type episodes, or do a massive montage and show you the result, or maybe I won't show you the result if it's really rubbish. Anyway, we shall see how that happens, but I thought I'd do a little intro first of all. Oh yes, one of the other things about the uniform revolution that occurred, that one of the things they were really concerned about in World War One was the fact that the soldier's chest was crisscrossed with straps. There was everything going across. So you had the rucksacks, they were reasonably okay, but you'd have the gas mask, you'd have the water bottle, you'd have the haversack, bread bag, you name it. It was just a massive X of lanyards and straps and everything, which of course restricted your movement. It was also a pain when you were trying to deal with a wounded soldier, because you had to untangle everything and or cut them away. So the big change was to transfer most of the carrying onto the belt. And so these are not carrying anything at the moment, because I will need the pouch to be able to hook these hooks onto the back of them. The pouches obviously will be slipped onto the belt, and at the back I have, you can see that, a triangle with two, where is it there, two D hooks on the back. The two pouches I was making also have D hooks on the front, and that will allow me on one side to put the 2-litre water bottle, and on the other to put a general purpose haversack on the other. And that haversack would be carried during combat, which is over here, if you'll just excuse me. Now, this is a reproduction, before anyone says this is far too clean. This is what it looks like, so it'll be going sort of on there. It does have a strap on it if you want to carry it. You just have to thread it through these loops here if you want to carry it across your shoulders. Now, this would be carrying rags, and two pouches here on front would be for LMG mags. The loop here in the middle would be for the LMG monopod. So that would be what the gunner would be carrying, and what I'll be carrying eventually when I get all my gear together. And then there would be, so that means that all those things are on the belt, nothing going across the chest. Then the rucksack would come on, which would then, the strap would come down, hook onto these sort of belt loop type connectors on the top. So again, which would be hooking onto the pouches and the belt. So then again, that's also going on the shoulders and the belt and the hips. And that would carry some more LMG mags and a few personal effects. And then this could be carried in combat. And then there would be a second smaller pack that would be attached to the upper backpack, which would really be for housing your cooking utensils, cup, car, very important for your quart of wine, tent pegs, that sort of thing. And that would generally be left behind at camp. Anyway, the rucksacks, I'm not really interested in getting those. I'm just trying to have the basic equipment that Poilu would be wearing in combat. So my plan, sorry for the rambling, my plan is, now that I've cut out all my bits, and there are quite a few bits, is to get a scribing tool and scribe all the shapes on the back of the leather. Then I shall very, very carefully cut it out, and hopefully I'll have 12 fingers at the end of it. And once they're cut out, I will then use a compass with a fixed setting, spacing setting, and go around the edges with the spike on the inside, so I can mark a stitch line so that all the pieces have a stitch line a set distance away from the sides. And then I will be using these funny punches. Probably have a specific leather tooling name. Following that stitch line, I shall pre-puncture for the awl to go through, because in some bits I've got 3 or 4 thicknesses of leather to get through. I really don't want to be punching, that's just asking for putting one through my palm. And then I shall be using this awl, which apparently, according to the leatherworking internet, is the best thing since sliced bread, and sew it all together. And hopefully it will all work out marvellously. After that, there's a few bits of metal, some rivets and studs to put on, but that shouldn't be any trouble. Right, now that I've done this intro, I can actually get on with it and hopefully show you a presentable result. Thanks for watching.